Hi everyone, it's Lindsay. I'm back today with another video, and today I'm going to be making a die cut scene. Now I've done this before, it's very simple and easy to do, but I'm first going to start out with some coloring. Both images that I am coloring today are from the Oh What Fun stamp set. It is brand new this month from Craft and Desert Divas, and I'm going to start out with this little girl who's decorating her Christmas tree. Now I've went ahead and stamped and fussy cut her already. And now I'm just using my Prismacolor colored pencils to quickly color her in. I went ahead and used some browns and some lighter beiges for her little reindeer pajamas or whatever you want to call them. Used some beiges for her little face, blonde for her hair, or yellow. And then I'm going to keep my color palette pretty limited here. I'm just going to be doing reds and greens for all of my accents pieces. I'll throw in a few yellow things here and there. I went with some gold for the star and the base of the tree, but other than that, I'm keeping it pretty simple because of the overall color palette of the entire card. Now for my second little girl, I went ahead and pulled those browns that I used on the little onesie that the other little girl was wearing. I used those on her hair, and then again I'm coming back in with some reds and greens for her hat and her little outfit as well. Bring in some browns for the cookies, and because I used gray on the cat, I'll actually bring that back in for the little board she's working on. Now once I had her all colored up, I moved on to some die cutting. So I'm going to be using the Stitched In Circles die set. I've got the large scallop circle out. I'm going to cut that from some red cardstock, and I also used the smaller Stitched In Circle die to go ahead and cut two white cardstock pieces. Now I had already cut those. I used them on my angel card, so I already had those, so I didn't need to do any extra cutting. I always save my pieces if I don't use them, because in cases like this I can just put them on another card. Now I also used the new fall border die to go ahead and cut one of those circles and create a hill, a snowy hill. And now I'm bringing in that Snow Flurry stencils that is also brand new this month, and I am going to smoosh some whip spackle, just plain white, and I'm going to smoosh that right through that stencil onto the second circle die cut. Now I'm not being overly careful. I don't want it completely smoothed out here, and I do want it to be quite a thick layer so it's got some dimension, so it will show up. Being white on white, you do need that dimension in order for it to kind of pop out. Now I'm going to be layering up that bottom panel of snow, and I don't want that whip spackle to get in the way, so I just use my palette knife to wipe that off on the bottom, and that's going to make sure I have a nice flat surface I can adhere that snow bank to. So for my background, I did do some stamping with the little cookie that's in this stamp set. I colored those up with some reds and greens, and then I just added some white enamel accents to little spaces in between them, just little dots. Now for that panel, I went ahead and put some double-sided adhesive on the back of it, and I'm going to go ahead and put that onto an A2 side folding card base. This is an A2 size panel that I created already, so it's just going to fit and lay right over and just give that base a little bit of extra weight. Now I wanted to add a little breakup between the top panel and that coloring, so I grabbed a quarter strip, or a little bit less than a quarter strip, of black cardstock, added some double-sided adhesive to the back of that. I used my T-square ruler to make sure it was nice and straight, stuck that down, snipped off the ends, and there I've got that nice breaking point between the white background and the cookie background. Now to put this scene together is very simple. I went ahead and put some adhesive on the back of my stenciled panel, and I adhered that to the red cardstock panel. Then I'll go ahead and put some fun foam on the back of that snowbank that I cut earlier, line that up with where I had wiped away the whip spackle, and I'll adhere that down. Now for my little girls, I used a mixture of liquid adhesive and dimensional adhesive so they would stick to the snowbank, which is already popped up, but then the tops of them are hanging off, so I needed that extra dimension behind there to make it even with the snowbank. And then I laid some acrylic blocks on top of that so it would stick very well. On the back of the red cardstock panel, I put some more dimensional adhesive and put that down onto the center of the card base. Now for my sentiment, I'm going to be using the brand new sending die here. I die cut about 4 of those words from black cardstock, and now I'm just going to layer them up with some liquid glue holding them all together. This is one of my favorite techniques for making chipboard effects with your word dies, and also it just adds a little extra something to your card and helps that sentiment pop out. So I'm just going to continually layering these up, and if you look at that sending word die, your little dot on your I is still attached to your D, so you don't have to worry about that little I, which if you've used word dies before, that is kind of a lifesaver. I always lose those on my desk. I put some liquid adhesive on the back of those and layered those right on top of the bottom of that circle die cut. And now I'm going to be using the Sending Sentiment stamp set that goes along with that die. I have built up a sentiment that I'm going to stamp on the inside of my card to finish that sending sentiment on the outside. And I just built that up. I'm going to be stamping it in black dye ink, and I'm using my Misty today. It reads, "Sending you Christmas wishes." You have to take into account that sending on the front, and then you finish your sentiment on the inside, and I stamped that down right in the top center of the card. Now you'll see whenever I ink up this stamp, I do make sure to wipe off any extra ink that got on the lid of my Misty. Whenever you're stamping a finished card, make sure you do that, because if it has dimension, that ink will transfer to the top of your card if you're not careful. But once I had that done, that completely finished off today's card. I hope you guys enjoyed this video, and I'm going to leave you with these last few pictures. On the left side of your screen, you'll see a few different links you can click on. The top will take you to a video of mine you might enjoy watching next. The bottom left will take you to my blog, where I have the supply list for this card, and the bottom right will subscribe you to my channel if you aren't already. Thank you guys so much for watching today, and happy crafting!